Greetings to everyone. This is Siddharth, Department of Civil Engineering, Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology. Today we are going to see about the topic steps involved in planning. The first step in any planning is your project initiation. Here we are going to see the first phase of our project life cycle. Right, we are going to deal with the value and feasibility of a particular project here. We have two valuation methods. One is your business case document and second one is your feasibility study. In business case document, we are going to study the documents which justifies the need for the project, and it includes the estimate of potential financial benefits, like what is a particular need of the project, why this project is needed, whether it will be a feasible one, if you are going to do this project, whether you will get any financial benefits, like whether your profit will be attained as per your scale, whether the profit percentage is satisfactory for the company. We will deal about all these things in your business case document. And in the second part of your feasibility study, we will evaluate the project goals, timeline and cost to determine if the project should be executed. Like if there is no goals in doing a project, if there is no use of a project, why to take up the project? If the project's timeline is too short, why to take up the project? And if the cost is not, according to the plan, if you are not going to get any profit, if you are going to incur loss in some kind of in the project, you should not take it. So you have to study about all those things in your second part of your feasibility study. This feasibility study actually balances the requirement of the project with available resource to see if pursuing the project makes sense. Like the availability of your research, various resources will be available at various parts of your year. Like in rainy season, you will have the plenty available resource of some kind, or in summer season you will have another one. So you have to study about all these things, like the material availability, material quality, labor availability, everything should be studied in this feasibility part. The second part in planning is your project planning. Once the project receives the green light, if your all the study of your documents and feasibility are over, it needs a solid plan to guide the team, right? As well as to keep the time, and it should be on budget. Like you should have a solid plan with you. Like typically talking about an construction planning software to be used. A well-written project plan gives guidance for obtaining resources, acquiring financing, and procuring required materials. Like you will be able to get the resources which are required at the various parts of your project, and how to acquire financial support for your project. The client is not going to give the entire finance for your project at the starting point. So you have to make up the financial part. I will be getting this loan from this particular bank at this point of time, so that my project will be going on very smoothly. And for procuring required materials, I should be able to get all the materials at the required time. I should not be getting all the materials at the starting point of my project. It can be like if you're going to buy paint at starting point of the project, it is not going to be used up until the end of your project. Painting will be coming at the end part. So you have to plan all your materials very carefully. The project plan gives the team direction of producing quality outputs, handling risks, creating acceptance, communicating benefits to the stakeholders, and managing supply. So this will give you a quality output. If you are able to very carefully plan all these things, your output will be of very good quality, and the handling of your risk will be very minimum. You will not be having almost no risk at the site. And creating acceptance, you will be able to create acceptance levels, that like if you are getting some bad materials, if it is in the tolerance limit, it can be accepted. If 95% of your materials of very good quality, if the 5% of your materials is not meeting the expectation, it is not a very big issue. You can move on. Communicating benefits to the stakeholders will be your next point. You can actually speak with your client and explain to them this will be the benefits if this project is completed, and you can actually discuss all the points with your clients. There will be no hesitation between the clients and the owners and the contractors. And managing supplies, you can actually talk to your suppliers about your requirements. What are the requirements that will be taken up by a particular project? So you can actually have all those conversations. The project plan also prepares teams for obstacles they might encounter over the course of the project, and helps them understand the cost, scope, and time frame of the project. Right. So here we will be able to encounter the course of the project, like the obstacles to be encountered. The team will be able to understand this might be the problem. It may be arising at this particular point of time. So everything can be planned accordingly. So this obstacle is a very important part, because you will have many number of obstacles. Like if you take example in your site, there may be any seasonal climatic variations which you will be encountering in the site. There may be sudden outburst of rain for a full day. the work should be stopped. So to understand all these things and for planning for all those obstacles, the team should be able to understand the cost, scope, and the time frame of the project. If the team is able to clearly understand what is the cost for this particular project, they will be able to complete the project within the cost. What will be the scope for the project? Oh, this is the scope for the project, so they will be working accordingly. And what is the time frame? If time frame is clearly given, the team may be able to complete the project within the required time, and no extension of time will be required. And the next step in our project planning will be your project execution. This is the real part where we are going to actually execute the project. It is most commonly associated with project management. Execution is all about building deliverables that satisfy the customer. We are going to actually build a building in the place where we have planned, and it should be going according to the time frame of the project. Right? This is done by team leaders, which people make by allocating resources and keeping the team members focused on their assigned tasks. Execution relies heavily on the planning phase. If your planning is very good, your execution will not be having any problems. But if you have very poor planning, execution will be a very tough job in the field. As you all know, construction of a building is a very economically very higher one. So this planning part is very important, and the work and efforts of the team during the execution phase are derived from the project plan. So if your execution is properly done, and if you have a very good project execution, it means that your project planning is very well done in advance. If your planning is not very properly done, execution will be a very hectic process in the field. The next step in our planning will be our project monitoring and control. Actually, this project monitoring control is almost combined with our execution pace, because when you are executing a project at that phase only, you will be able to monitor and control the project. Right? If your project is going on, you have to check whether it is according to the time frame which has been decided or which has been already planned, whether the resources are properly being used, whether it is being underutilized or it is being overutilized, whether the labor force is correctly done, right, in terms of numbers, quality, everything has to be checked. So for this, we have a team who will execute, who will continuously monitor their own progress. They will continuously monitor the progress of our projects. To guarantee delivery of what was promised, teams must monitor tasks to prevent some creep, calculate key performance indicators, and track variation from allotted cost and time. For example, if you start a project at the at the January month, you have to track your performance on a weekly basis, like what is the work done on this particular week, whether we are going on with respect to our plan. If we are lagging in our time period, we have to increase the production in the upcoming week, so that we will be able to be on track with the time which has been already planned. Whether if you are going for materials, you have to check the materials allocations too, whether we are correctly using our materials. If we are overutilizing our materials, right, if the materials are properly not being utilized, it is also a big problem, because at the end of the project, the cost which has been allotted for our materials will be over from the what we have planned. So that must be taken care of, and this constant vigilante keeps help the project moving ahead smoothly. If this monitoring is correctly done, then the project will be moving very smoothly, because we have already planned it very carefully. And the last part in our planning will be our project closure. Here it is nothing but when we deliver the finished project to the customer and communicating the completion of this project to the stakeholders and releasing the resources to other projects. This means the project is closed. That is, every work related to the particular project is completed, and we are not going to do any further work. If you have successfully completed the project, then the team will be able to evaluate and document the project and move on to the next one. Here, there is another important part. Using our previous project mistakes and success to build stronger process and more successful teams can be done, right? If you complete a project, at the end of the project, you will be able to see whether we have completed it on time with the allocated resource and allocated labor. That can be checked. If there are some deviations, if there are some errors, we can learn from that, and it can be corrected on the upcoming projects. Right? And although the project management may seem overwhelming at times, breaking it down into five distinct cycles will help you manage the team when you are dealing with very complex projects, and the time and resource can be used more wisely. If you are able to break down your project into this five particular parts, you will be able to clearly disintegrate into every aspect of your project, and you can easily find where we are lagging. If you are a very big company and you have a number of projects, you can clearly say that this is the part where we are lagging, and this is the part where we have to improve with this. So this actually completes the planning part for a construction. Thank you.